Welcome to Boots in Baltimore. I'm Leanne Blanchard. I'm here with Brian Cohen, owner of Mac Ninjas. So, what do you do at Mac Ninjas?
My business is training, troubleshooting, and support for all things Apple. I go to my client's home or office to work with them on all of their Apple technology needs. In general, I'm looking for people between, say, 45 and 85 who use Apple. They're great at what they do, but when their technology malfunctions, they're a little bit less than great. Usually I get brought in when somebody's ready to throw their tech out the window because things are not working correctly. And people ask me often, well, why should I use you and not Apple? And the answer to that is, please go to Apple first. Wait till they fail you or you can't get the service you need from them before you come and call me, because I charge money. Apple's free. So by all means, go to the free support first. When they fail you, then I'm your resource.
Got it. So you're sort of like personal third tier service.
Correct.
Got
So my statement when I'm qualifying with somebody is always, have you tried the Apple Store's Genius Bar first? Yes or no? The second one is, are you a DIYer who's just going to take one word from me and then try to go to Google and YouTube? Both of which are not necessarily the best introduction for me.
that.
And the third piece is, I am a software training and consulting person. I'm not going to replace a broken screen.
That makes sense. If it's broken, it's really broken. But
With
uh,
Apple, if it's broken, I would actually tell you, first call should be to Apple to ask them, are you under warranty and can you have your hardware fixed by Apple directly? If not, you can go to Zag, you can go to Ubreak iFix, you can go to Micro Center, you can go to Best Buy. Those are the places for hardware fixes.
okay, so what are the typical challenges that you would address for Apple users?
I see a lot of people who've gone to Apple because they get a spinning beach ball that does not stop, or their Mac is out of space and they can't even save a single file. And Apple usually tells them, sorry, you don't have enough space. Just buy a new computer. Or in the case of the spinning beach ball, they will tell them, or for those of you Windows users out there, it's the equivalent of the hourglass or that circle that never stops.
It's just processing and processing and
Yes.
processing, but doesn't go anywhere.
Right. Apple will tell you, okay, set up a new profile on your computer and whatever comes over from the cloud, great. Otherwise, you're good and start fresh. Well, what about all my data? You might ask. Well, that's not their concern because they're going straight to the nuclear solution. The same thing with an iPhone. If you go in and say, my iPhone's not working, their very first reaction is, okay, wipe your phone and set up as new. Whatever comes back from the cloud is what you got. Well, what about all my data that's in my apps, etc.? Well, you didn't need that anyway because it's malfunctioning. That's why I tell you, go to Apple first. You need to hear that before you'll understand why it's valuable to pay for someone to actually do this for you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. Nuclear solution. That sounds horrible. So you said that you work in person and virtually. So where are you located? And I guess what's your service area?
I live in the DC metro area. I will drive to within about 100 miles of my home in any direction. I also currently work in 25 or 26 states via Apple Screen Share and Zoom. So I can and do work virtually with people. The only thing that generally requires in person is if your computer won't turn on or your computer challenged enough that getting you to be on Zoom or remote is too difficult. That's the only time that I have to do in person. Now, are there some things that are better in person? Yeah, when you're coming to iPhone, iPad, it's generally easier in person, but it's not required. So we can talk about what the best way is when somebody reaches out to me.
Got it. So you mentioned that you have clients kind of in that older age bracket, because I'm in that bracket. We're not old. But what industries do they come from?
50% of the people I work with are in real estate. A lot of the rest are the creative types like photographers, graphic designers, videographers, and architects. A third area that I work a lot with is coaches, both life and business. The fourth area is retired military, and the fifth area is seniors. What do they all have in common? They're all people who are busy professionals. They don't have the time or energy to go to Apple, which could take 4, 6, 8 hours and still not have their solution found. They want to be able to just pay somebody for 2 hours, one and
Have it
done,
done.
and it's fixed. So that very accurately describes retired military who've always had IT people at their beck and call at work. Yet when it comes to their home tech, they're not so well equipped with IT people at their beck and call. And in the case of seniors, meaning 65 to 85 in particular, they're less technically skilled at times. So want someone who will walk them through. If you know the expression, give a man a fish he eats for a day, teach him to fish he eats for a lifetime, I'm in the teach him to fish category.
Well, you say that, but it strikes me that uh I'm the type that will DIY for some things, but sometimes I just need a fish because tonight I'm having chicken. Like I just want somebody else to do it because I really just have that short term or specific need where this thing isn't working and I just want it fixed and I don't want to
Yes.
learn it. Like,
Yes, I will do that.
okay.
But the reason that one of the objections that I hear regularly is, well, why don't I just hand my phone or my computer off to my 15-year-old and they'll fix it? Because teenagers and 20-somethings usually know everything about tech, even when they don't. The advantage to using a professional is not only am I going to fix it, but I'm going to make sure you know at least what to do correctly the next time so that you don't get yourself in that bind again. The way it gets fixed doesn't need to be taught to you, but how to not end up back in that hole again does. And that, by the way, also goes to why I'm not generally looking for teenagers and 20-somethings. Now, are there teenagers and 20-somethings who are less than technologically savvy? Yes, of course. And those people I'm more than happy to work with. However, the lion's share of people I work with are generally people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s.
That makes sense. So, how did you discover this specialization, or how did you become master of all things Apple?
Combination of things. First is I got my first Mac personally in 1991, and I'm a self-taught Mac guru. I also get Apple certification training every year. So I take Apple's training, and I also am a self-taught geek. I don't take Apple certification test every year, but I definitely take their training every year because I want to make sure that I'm doing right by the people I work with. Most people that work with me have already tried Apple, so they're not coming to me to have me do what Apple would do. They're coming to me to have me help them solve their problem. The biggest example of that is with, let's say you use Microsoft 365 for your email, for your mail, contacts, and calendars. There's been a long-running challenge, if you will, between Apple and Microsoft. Apple sends you to Microsoft. Microsoft sends you back to Apple. Neither one of them will admit fault as far as where the problem actually is. In reality, it comes down to they use different sync services, and neither one is interested in matching what the other does. So there are ways to make those two systems work together, but getting bounced between the companies is not necessarily going to solve that. That's one of those things that I've had to learn through School of Hard Knocks, through conversations with people who are Microsoft certified, through my own Apple certification trainings, through a lot of learning on the job to figure out, why does that happen? How do we solve it? And how do we make it so that you experience it less than you otherwise would?
Well, that makes a lot of sense to me because I know a lot of people who have sort of mixed technology. They have to use this for work, or they really prefer to do this, and so they're always kind of juggling a little bit. So that makes a lot of sense. Well, so if people are in a bind, how can they get help? How do they find out more?
You can email me if you desire, brian@mac-ninjas.com. You can call me at 703-508-6779. You can text me because that is an iPhone number, or you can go to my website where that contact info is listed as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I think this is going to be tremendously helpful for a lot of people. I really appreciate it.
Happy to be of service. And if there's ever anything I can do to help, my goal is to help people go from ready to throw their tech out the window in frustration, literally, to helping you take a bite out of your apple.
That's great. Well, thank you again. This is Leanne Blanchard for Boots in Baltimore. We'll have more interviews for you shortly.